Hi everyone. In the immunology subject, we are going to discuss about antibodies or immunoglobulins. Immunoglobulins are immunological active serum proteins, often called as antibodies. If these immunoglobulins are going to react with an antigen, then we call it as antibody. And if it does not react with an antigen, then we simply call them as immunoglobulins. Then what these immunoglobulins are doing in a host or human body means they are going to identify the antigens that are coming into the host and they will bind to them, and that's how resulting in the complete breakdown of that antigen and protecting us from the antigen. And that kind of immunity that we are getting through these antibodies or immunoglobulins are going to be referred as humoral mediated immunity. So the immunity topic was there in another part, so you can go through it. So these immunoglobulins are immunologically very active in our serum, that is blood serum. Then you are going to have a very active in the body fluids and even in the tissues. So tissues means you can have the different types of the tissues, lymphoidal tissues, then malt, galt, all these things. Okay, and then coming to the these immunoglobulins are also going to be compared with the missiles. So and that's why they are being called as immunological missiles. So we know that the missiles are going to be targeted on the enemies, isn't it? In the same manner, these immunoglobulins are also targeting the antigens and they are destroying that antigen. So that's why we can also call them as immunological missiles for normal sake. But actually, it is not the right name, but we are going to compare it with like immunological missiles which are produced especially by vertebrates only. And these whatever the immunoglobulins are mainly going to be produced in the lymphocytes and the plasma cells. And in this part we are majorly going to learn about the basic structure of these immunoglobulins, and the types of immunoglobulins will be discussed in another part. So let's begin the basic structure of this immunoglobulins. The first real information regarding the structure of antibodies was given by Mr. Tisles and Cabot in the year 1937. Later in the 1959 to 64, Rodney Porter, Edelman, and Nisnov developed a technique of fragmenting the immunoglobulin molecule by pepsin and pepine digestion, which has led to the discovery of five main classes of immunoglobulins. So that's what I told you, that which we will discuss in the next part or another part. And Mr. Edelman is the one who found or determined the amino acid sequence of immunoglobulins, especially IgG, in the year 1969. As I already told you that immunoglobulins are active serum proteins. So we know that the proteins are going to be built up of amino acids. So amino acids are the building blocks of any protein, isn't it? So he found it's a one type of immunoglobulin, that is IgG, amino acid sequence in the year 1969. And actually, the basic structure of this immunoglobulins was proposed by Rodney Porter and was the most widely accepted one when compared to the other one told or proposed by other one. And this immunoglobulins are going to be of about 20 to 25% in the total serum proteins. And as I already told you, these are nothing but the proteins. So which kind of the proteins they are? Chemically, immunoglobulins are glycoproteins, and they are going to be of either inverted shape or Y-shaped structures. Okay, let's see the in detail structure that was proposed by Mr. Rodney Porter. So here just see the figure, then we can go into the parts. So here is a general picture of any immunoglobulin that you will see, but later on we are supposed to discuss in detail structure of it. So the any immunoglobulin is going to be made up of four polypeptide chains. How many polypeptide chains? 4 polypeptide chains, out of which 2 are going to be identical and other 2 are going to be identical. So 2 short chains are there and 2 long chains are there. And that's how we are going to mention them as the 4 polypeptide chains in which 2 are identical light chains. So the short chains are going to be called as light chains, and 2 identical long chains which we are going to call them as heavy chains. So how many polypeptide chains are there? 4 polypeptide chains are there, out of which 2 identical light chains and 2 identical heavy chains are there. So here you can see. So these are heavy chains and these are light chains. Okay, then these all 4 polypeptide chains are going to be held together with one another by interdisulfide bonds. So if you see here, there are the disulfide bonds which are connecting all these 4 polypeptide chains together, and that's how we are going to have a proper structure like this. And then each polypeptide chain is going to have 2 ends, isn't it? This one and this one. So one side of it or one end of it is going to have an amino group and other side is going to have a carboxylic group. You can look here. So the amino group containing N is going to be called as N-terminal or amino terminal. And the other side, the carboxylic group containing N is going to be called as C-terminal. C-terminal or carboxylic terminal. So for each polypeptide chain, you are going to have the 2 ends. One is N-terminal, another one is going to be the C-terminal. And in the heavy chains, between the 2 heavy chains, there will be a flexible region, and this flexible region is going to be called as hinge region. What we call it as hinge region. And one more thing that we have to remember here is each amino acid, this heavy chain or light chain is going to possess 2 regions. 2 regions. I told you about the 2 terminals. Now I'm telling the 2 regions. So one region, this dark black color region is going to be called as variable region, and this yellow colored part is going to be called as constant region. So how many regions are there in the polypeptide chain? That means in the immunoglobulin, there are 2 regions. One is the constant region. This is a variable region. Another one is the constant region. So the variable region is a single one in all the 4 polypeptide chains. If you observe here, this is one, this is one, this is one, and this is one. But coming to the constant region, it differs between the heavy chain and the light chain. The light chain, it is going to possess only one constant region, whereas in the heavy chain, it is going to have 3 number of constant regions, or it may be more also. Okay, so this is the overall structure of a immunoglobulin. So once again, the immunoglobulin is going to be of Y shape or inverted gamma shape, and it is going to be consisting of how many polypeptide chains? 4 polypeptide chains. And these 4 polypeptide chains are going to be held together by interdisulfide bonds. Remember, intermediate, okay, INTER. So these are the interdisulfide bonds, and then these all are going to be having the 2 terminals. That means all the polypeptide chains are having the 2 terminals or 2 ends. One end is going to be called as N-terminal because it contains the amino group, and the other terminal is going to be called as C-terminal because it contains carboxylic group. Okay, and then I told you about the heavy chain. In between the 2 heavy chains, there is a hinge region, the flexible region, which we are going to call it as hinge region. Okay, so this is the hinge region of the heavy chain. And then what is this? All we will discuss in detail now. And then about the 2 regions I told you, one is the variable region. This is the region at which the antigen comes and bind. Okay, so here is the antigen binding site will be present in the variable region. And coming to this yellow color is going to be of a constant regions. Okay, so there is a variable region and constant region at the C terminal. So this is what you have to remember as a overall structure of this immunoglobulin. Now let's see the in detail structure of this immunoglobulin. So as I told you, we are going to have the two identical light chains and two identical heavy chains. So first of all, we will discuss about the light chain and then we will move about the heavy chain. So the first coming to light chain, as I told you, two identical light chains in the antibody molecule are present and they are identical with one another. And each light chain, so where is your light chain? Here is your light chain 1 and 2, and these two are going to be identical in nature, and these are made up of about 214 amino acids. We know proteins are made up of amino acids, so obviously here this light chain is also made up of, that means each light chain is made up of 214 amino acids. And there are two types of light chains in the immunoglobulins. One is going to be the kappa type, where simply we call it as K type, and second one is the lambda type or L type. Okay, so there are two types of light chains. One is the kappa type, another one is the lambda type. And this kappa lambda type differentiation is mainly in their structure as well as in the amino acid sequence of light chain. And out of the 100% of this light chain, 60% of immunoglobulins are made up of K type of light chain, that is kappa type of light chain. Whereas 40% of immunoglobulins are having this L type, that is lambda type of light chains. Okay, and as I told you, these light chains are going to be interlinked with heavy chain by the interdisulfide bonds near the hinge region. The central flexible region is going to be called as hinge region. Okay, and each light chain is going to have two regions, isn't it? Two regions are there. What are those two regions? One is going to be called as variable region, another one is going to be called as constant region. So if you observe here also, one variable region and one constant region. So here we are going to denote it as VL, that is variable region of light chain, constant region of light chain. In the same manner here, VL, variable region of light chain, constant region of light chain. Okay, so this is all about the light chain, and then we will move to the heavy chain. And one more thing I want to tell you or mention here in the variable region of light chain is, as I told you, this variable region is located near the amino terminal end, and the constant region is towards the, that is located towards the carboxylic end. And here in the variable region, we are going to have three hot spots. So what are those hot spots? I will tell you at the end of this topic. Okay, so this is all about the light chain, and the light chain molecular weight is going to be range between 25,000 to 50,000 daltons. Okay, so we have discussed about the light chain. Then we are moving into the heavy chain. So as I told you, the heavy chain, two identical heavy chains are there. As they are going to be long and having a more molecular weight when compared to this, we are calling them as heavy chains, isn't it? And based on the structure and amino acid sequence, we are going to have the different types of these immunoglobulins. Okay, and heavy chain is made up of 450 to 770 amino acids. In the light chain, it is only 214 amino acids, but in the heavy chain, you are going to have approximately 450 to 770 amino acids are going to be there in the heavy chain. And depending upon this heavy chain only, the immunoglobulins are being classified into 5 types. So what are those 5 types? Let's see. So these are all the things that we have discussed. So here is. So if the heavy chain is going to be the gamma type, that type of immunoglobulin is going to be named as immunoglobulin G. If the heavy chain is going to be the alpha type, then it is going to be called as immunoglobulin A. If the heavy chain is going to be of a mu type, then we call it as immunoglobulin M. In the same manner, if the heavy chain is a delta type, then we call it as IgD. In the same manner, if the heavy chain is going to be epsilon, then we call it as IgE. So that's how we are going to have the classification of immunoglobulins into 5 different types depending upon the heavy chain type. And these heavy chains are going to have a central flexible region which is going to be called as hinge region. And this hinge region is going to have about 1 to 13 inter-disulfide bonds. That means these two heavy chains are also going to be connected with the disulfide bonds, and this number may be varying from 1 to 13. Okay, and there is a single variable region and 3 constant regions. So in the light chain we have only one constant region and one variable region, but here in this heavy chain we are going to have one variable region, but if you see here, one, two, three constant regions are there. And in some IgM and IgA, we may have one more constant region, that is CH4 also, that is constant heavy chain, constant region of heavy chain 1, constant region of heavy chain 2, constant region of heavy chain 3. So that's how here in this figure we are going to have the 3 constant regions, but there is an exception, that is there will be a CH4 also, the constant region 4 in the IgM immunoglobulin and IgA immunoglobulin. And coming to the variable region, in the light chain I told there are 3 hotspots, but coming to the heavy chain we have 4 hotspots. Okay, and the molecular weight of each heavy chain is going to be of about 50,000 to 70,000 daltons. Okay, so these all you are supposed to remember. And one more thing that we have to discuss here is, if you look at this picture, it will be very easy to you. So these are called as domains. Okay, and here you are going to see some sort of a disulfide bonds. These are called as intra. That means the light chain or the heavy chains are internally connected. They are going to be of intra-disulfide bonds, and the bonds between the light chain and the heavy chain is going to be called as inter-disulfide bonds. I have mentioned here, if you see here, these are intra-disulfide bonds within the chain and inter-disulfide bonds between the two chains. So that's how we are going to call it as intra-disulfide bonds and inter-disulfide bonds. Okay, then moving to the hypervariable region, I told hypervariable region, hotspots, all these terminology I told you. Let's move to that topic. What is a hypervariable region and what are these hotspots are? See, the variable regions of both heavy chain and light chains contain highly variable zones called as hypervariable zones or hotspots. So, in the variable regions of both that is heavy chain and your light chain, there are some regions where these variable regions can highly what we call it as a containing of highly variable zones. That means they can flexible according to the antigen, and those regions are going to be called as hotspots or hypervariable regions. Actually, these hypervariable regions are involved in the antigen binding site, and that antigen binding site of immunoglobulin is going to be called as paratope. That means the site at which an antigen binds to the antibody is called as paratope and are all called as idiotypic regions also, and the regions are called as idiotype regions. So you can see the figure, then you can come to know. So here is a light chain where I told you 3 hotspots are there, that is hypervariable region spots are there, and in the heavy chain I told you 4 are there, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and these regions are called as paratopes or antigen binding sites. Okay, and by folding of these variable domains, hypervariable regions are brought together. So these are all going to be brought together because of the folding to form a paratope. What is a paratope? I told you now itself, that is antigen binding site consisting of 3 hypervariable regions in the light chain and 4 in the heavy chain. Okay, so that's how they are going to bind to the antigen, and it is involved in break down that antigen. Okay, and this region is present in the variable region, and which is highly variable, we are going to call it as hyper variable region. So now we understood that the variable region is the one which is going to have the bonding with our antigen, not with our antigen, the one which is coming into our body, that is the antigen, which is going to fight, okay, or it is going to bind. And initially, if you remember, I told you that Rodney Porter, Edelman, Nisnov, these all going to have the fragmentation of this immunoglobulin into 2 parts, I told you, if you remember. So one is going to be called as by the pepsin pepine fragmentation. We are going to have the 2 fragments I told you. The first fragment is called as FAB fragment, that is fragment of antibody or fragment of antigen binding site, okay, which consists of paratopes, and it is going to bind to the antigen. And if you see here, this FAB is going to have both the variable region as well as the constant region. And the second part of this digestion is going to be called as FC fragment, and this FC fragment is called as a fragment of crystallization, and it is composed of only heavy chain constant regions. So here in the fragmentation, that is a fragmentation of this immunoglobulin, we'll get 2 parts. The first part is going to be called as FAB, that is fragment of antigen binding site, and the second part is going to be the FC, fragment of crystallization. And in the FAB region, you have both the variable region and the constant region of both light chain and heavy chain up to here. And coming to the down part, FC fragment, it's having only the constant regions of heavy chain. And this FC fragment is very important in the immunological assays, that is the reaction between the antigen and antibodies techniques. But here the major part that is involved in the antigen binding is going to be the FAB fragment. So that's how we completed the discussion of immunoglobulin or antibody. So just let's have a quick review of this immunoglobulin structure, then we will end. So here is going to be of the total structure of immunoglobulin, the overall structure, and how many, it's a gamma shape, inverted gamma shape or Y shape. Then how many polypeptide chains are there? 4 polypeptide chains are there, out of which 2 identical light chains are there, 2 identical heavy chains are there. Okay, and each heavy chain or light chain is going to have 2 ends, that is 2 terminals. One terminal is called as amino terminal and other one is going to be called as carboxylic terminal. And all these 4 polypeptide chains are going to be interconnected by interdisulfide bonds. So here, here and here. And then you are going to have the 2 regions in each polypeptide chain. One region is called as variable region and another one is going to be called as constant region. In the light chain, you are going to have one variable region and one constant region. But coming to the heavy chain, you had one variable region, but it may be of a 3 or more than 3, that is 4 also present in IgM. Okay. And you're also finding some sort of intradisulfide bonds where the domains are connected with one another. These are going to be called as intradisulfide bonds, and these are going to be called as interdisulfide bonds. Okay, and these are mainly involved in finding out of an antigen and binding to it and denaturing the antigen by simply breaking down. So that's how this immunoglobulin is very important in the humoral mediated immunity. The immunity that is going to be acquired due to the involvement of antibodies is called as humoral mediated immunity. So this we end the structure of immunoglobulin or antibody. In the next part, we are going to discuss about the types of immunoglobulins. Thank you.